Welcome to the Jazzy Eyes Podcast, taking care of your vision with expert precision. Here's your host, Dr. Thuy Nguyen.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Jazzy Eyes Podcast. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Wolf. I'm joined by your host, Dr. Thuy Nguyen. Dr. Nguyen, always a pleasure. Good to see you again.
Yes, happy Monday.
Cyber Monday. Time to start buying gifts.
Done.
So yes. So we were just talking, Dr. Falco and I, about cataracts.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned an awful lot because, like many other folks out there, they've heard the term cataracts, but probably can't define it or have the foggiest idea of what it is. So
right.
It was very insightful at sharing what that is and various symptoms associated and things like that. So I know you wanted to talk a little bit more about the various types of cataracts. So please.
Yes. So just I like to use the camera lens analogy when I talk about cataracts, saying how, in the camera, there's a lens. That lens is clear. In our eyes, there's also a lens that helps us focus. However, when we age, it doesn't stay clear forever. There could be defects. It could be discolored after some time. And so what I wanted to talk about is age-related cataracts here, where you've probably heard a friend say, oh, my grandmother or my grandfather had cataracts. And this is one of the types that they're talking about. There's generally 3 big types of cataracts. One of them to start is nuclear cataracts, where let's say we're talking about that camera lens, what's clear. As we get older, that camera lens gets cloudy, gets foggy, and it gets discolored more towards like the yellow tint. And people who have nuclear cataracts, they say, oh, colors aren't as vibrant as they used to be anymore. It's because you're looking through a yellow filter. And
why do they call it nuclear cataracts?
Because the structure in the lens, the very center of that structure of the lens is called the nucleus, which is in the middle. And that's where nuclear cataracts happens first. It starts yellow in the middle. Yes. Nuclear cataracts. It also makes people contrast when they're driving at night. It's not as defined as it used to be anymore because it's cloudy now. So the contrast at night is not as good. And people with nuclear cataracts, they start to notice that their prescription in their glasses is changing. They start to become more nearsighted. They can't see as far anymore with the nuclear cataracts. Another type is called cortical cataracts. The cortical cataracts, again, with the camera lens analogy, the lens, imagine that there are now cracks in the lens and it starts from the periphery and there's radial cracks that goes towards the middle. Kind of like, since it's the season now, if you can imagine like a peppermint wheel, like the red spokes from the outside going towards the center. That's kind of what cortical cataracts looks like. And because of the cracks, sometimes when the lens enters the eyes, the light enters the eye, the light gets scattered. And so you'll notice with cortical cataracts that people get glares and halos or like light distortions, and more noticeable when they're driving at night. So again, night driving is affected with cortical cataracts, and people can be more light sensitive because of all this glare and halo that they're experiencing at night. Especially now with the newer models of cars, I feel like the headlights are so bright. And then the last category of cataracts is called posterior subcapsular cataracts, where
posterior
subcapsular cataracts. Yeah.
Posterior subcapsular. Can we just call it
PSC?
PSC?
Yes, that's what it stands for.
Okay, good. It's a mouthful.
It is. And so the lens in our eye actually sits inside of a bag. It's not just a free-forming lens. It's like if you take that camera lens and you wrap it in saran wrap, the saran wrap is the capsule of the lens.
It's so fascinating. I mean, the human body is fascinating, obviously, but the eye is extra fascinating. I'm always intrigued by the human eye and how it evolved to what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so the subcapsular cataract is like if you have like a defect on that saran wrap where it kind of looks like frosted cracked ice, and it starts in the middle of the cataract. It starts in the middle of the lens. And you can imagine when we're reading, people are affected by that type of cataract more because when you read, your pupils constrict. And so all you're looking through is that opacity. Rather than when you're looking far away, your pupils are a little bit more dilated and you can look like the rim of the pupils is looking through clear lens instead of the opacity in the middle. And so for posterior subcapsular cataracts, people complain that, oh, my reading isn't as good as it used to be, even if they have cheaters or readers on. And those are actually the cataracts that grow the fastest.
So I got to think that, first of all, for cataracts, is there a genetic component to this, or is this simply a result of aging? And what are some things that I can imagine, like anything else, if you take care of yourself properly throughout your life and you do things that ultimately decrease the chances of this kind of thing, I got to think that that's a good way to prevent getting cataracts, or is it just something that results in some people due to the normal aging process?
So the most typical and most common type of cataract is age-related. So as long as you're aging, everyone's going to get cataracts. Yeah. There are
I thought I could.
There are certain things that might have us have early onset cataracts, but most of the times it's age-related. Everyone will get cataracts. Not everyone will have surgery, but everyone will eventually get cataracts. In terms of prevention, because we live in Florida, I feel like the UV light affects everything. And that's actually one of the things that can cause cataracts is the UV lights can cause, damage to the structure of the lens, and that can cause cataracts. So living in Florida, I feel like wearing sunglasses is a must to block out that UV and prevent the cataracts or make it not grow as much every year.
So I want to get into more about the causes of cataracts. Let's do that in another segment. So let's wrap this up and then pick that up in a following segment. So always a pleasure. I'll see you shortly. And thanks, listeners, for tuning in. And we will see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to the Jazzy Eyes podcast. For more information, visit jazzyeyes.com or contact 954-473-0103.